Hello and welcome to Dude's Comic Reviews. I'm Jason and this is my weekly review video where I review the comic books that I've picked up this week. This week there's 6 books, 4 DC, 1 Marvel and 1 Dark Horse Comics book. So without further ado, let's get to those reviews. So first up with this week we have The Phantom Stranger, issue number 13, and on the cover it says it's a Forever Evil tie-in, though only minimally does it make that kind of in that it's a tie-in. This issue kind of it wraps up, a lot of it wraps up previous stories from Phantom Stranger, so we get to see him kind of wrap stuff up from what happened to him during Trinity War. We get to see stuff to wrap up stuff that happened with the Sin Eater and with the Angel that kind of wiped him from existence. We get to see all those kind of things resolved. The second half of the story, then we get him confronting the Question, because of course the Question tried to kill the Phantom Stranger with the Spear of Destiny. So that leads to, Phantom Stranger goes to confront the Question to see why. And that I really enjoyed those scenes. I thought that was really good. And then at the end we have kind of like where the book kind of joins up with what happened last issue in Justice League Dark. So yeah, kind of at the end it is a tie-in, but I don't think it's kind of one that you have to go out and buy to really get Forever Evil. I think it's very minimally and I think it's a bit naughty of DC to kind of put it when it's so minimally a tie-in to say that, oh yeah, so people pick it up, think it, oh yeah, and it's a good book and it deserves to be picked up by more people, but I don't agree with kind of using those methods, which DC do quite often. The story itself is really good. Like I say, if you've been a long time reader, you get to see a lot of things wrapped up and resolved, which is really cool. The Question is such an interesting character, and it's really frustrating that he's the only one of the Trinity of Sin who hasn't got his own series. I find him a much more interesting character than Pandora, but you know, still he's not got his book yet. So fingers crossed for the future. But out of the Trinity of Sin, I think he's the most interesting character, since he doesn't really know who he was before he became the Question, and that leads to like loads of interesting stuff. And plus that there's always a question. I really like that as well. As all in all, like, I'm still really enjoying this book. I think this has been a great read. I mean, particularly since J.M. DeMatteis has taken over on it. He's done a really good job. Just really continue to really enjoy this, and I give Phantom Stranger issue number 13 5 stars. Next up we have the Star Wars issue number 3 from Dark Horse Comics. And this is the book that is based off the draft of George Lucas's first draft of the original Star Wars movie. And this issue was really interesting in that I really get a Phantom Menace feel from this original story, because you've got General Luke Skywalker together with Whitson and Anakin Starkiller, and they got the Queen, formerly Princess Leia, now Queen Leia, and her 2 younger brothers, and they're trying to escape the Empire while being pursued by a Sith Lord called Prince Valorum. Now, you know, the whole thing with Phantom Menace is Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn are trying to get the Queen to safety from the Trade Federation, and are on the run with her, all the while being pursued by a Sith Lord called Darth Maul. You see, so you can see the light, and it's kind of a bit scary that, you know, George Lucas did such a good job. Like you can see here the things that he changed, and he changed for the better, but that it's kind of scary that he done that and he improved it originally, but then he goes back to that original idea for episode 1. That's a bit scary, you know, and maybe it shows that one of the problems with the prequel trilogy maybe is that George's decision making at that point in time wasn't as good as it was all those years earlier when he done the original trilogy. The art in this book by Matthew Mayhew is just remains outstanding. It is like Alex Ross kind of like quality. I really do love the art. I'm trying to find something that really, you know, I really did like the art, and the way that the book is coloured, and that it just makes it look really gorgeous. So yeah, the art once again is outstanding. The story, I never really expected the story to be outstanding, because obviously this is the first draft, so there's a lot of things wrong with it that he fixed. But so far, all the things that I can see that he's fixed, he's done a good job, and he's done for the better. It does seem a bit strange being able to know what R2-D2 is saying, because here he doesn't speak in all the chirps, he speaks actually like a person. So that was kind of strange, but at the same time I kind of quite liked it. Some of the dialogue in here is directly, you can see that he kept in, and you remember it in the original film. And you know, so yeah, I'm still enjoying this. I think this is one that's definitely for Star Wars fans. I think if you haven't got no interest in Star Wars, you wouldn't enjoy this. But if you're a Star Wars fan and you kind of want to see how things could have been, I definitely think this is well worth picking up. And I'm enjoying it. This was the first issue that I've read just once. All the other issues I kind of had to read twice to get my head around. This one I read once. I'm still enjoying it. Not the greatest story, but still really interested to see for the changes. And I give Star Wars, the Star Wars issue number 3, I give it 4 stars. So next we have Swamp Thing issue number 25 from DC Comics, and this issue sees Swamp Thing have to go up against the Cedar for the right to remain the Avatar of the Green. I really love this big battle throughout this issue. You know, Swamp Thing really is getting a real handle now for his powers and his abilities. And really, you really need to read the annual. If you've been reading Swamp Thing, I think the annual is a must read, because you get to see how he learns to use his powers more and introduces a couple of new characters that look like they're going to be in the book from now on. But yeah, the backup between him and the Cedar is really good. The Cedar isn't fully, you know, kind of part of the Green yet. He's still part human, so his powers are different to Swampy's. But the two of them just have some real great fighting here. There's a great twist at the end, which is my geek out moment of the week. I just, you know, you think everything's going one way, then suddenly it turns, and you think, like, what happened? Was it all a trick or a test? But yeah, I really enjoyed this book, and I'm really loving what Charles Soule's doing with the book. I'm interested to see where we're going to go next with it, particularly with what happens at the end. And yeah, and the art I thought was really good as well. Jesus says does the art, and he does a great job here. And you know, Swamp Thing's becoming one of those characters that I really like, and really enjoying it. Really glad I gave in and jumped back on this book, and I give Swamp Thing issue number 25 not only my geek out moment of the week, but I also give it 5 stars. So next up we have my cover of the week, and that is Captain America issue number 13 from Marvel. Wasn't a great week for covers. Well, I'll correct that. There were some good covers out there, but the books I bought, I didn't really feel any of them had real great covers. So after much debate, me and the missus, we decided that this was the best cover this week. So we give cover of the week to Captain America. The story inside, really good as well, as we're still seeing Cap deal with the loss of his son Ian and his girlfriend Sharon. We get to know a little bit more about this character Iron Nail, which is really interesting. The book starts off in 1969 and we're getting a bit more background. We jump to modern day as Cap has to go and deal with Nuke, which is the fight we can see on the cover. The fight looks like it's going to drag on to next issue, which I'm not 100% thrilled with, because I'm more interested in the people behind Nuke rather than the character of Nuke himself. But yeah, the issue was really a lot of fun. It continues to build nicely. You can see with Remender, with his writing, that he's got things that he's laying out for the future, and I'm really enjoying what Remender's doing with the character and with the book. The art I liked as well. Some people might maybe not be their bag, but it had a real comic book kind of feel to it, which I think sometimes we lose in modern comics. And something that I really liked that. It definitely had that really comic booky kind of action. You know, and I think he handled, a lot of people struggle with Cap's like new outfit, but he does a real good job with it. So yeah, all in all, another really strong issue. Loving what Remender's doing with the book, and you know, he's really put Cap through a lot, but you get the feeling that there's even more to come. I'm really intrigued how things are going to work out, especially with characters like Jet Black. But yeah, all in all, so far I'm really enjoying the book, and I give Captain America issue number 13 not only my cover of the week, but I also give it 5 stars. Our penultimate book this week is Forever Evil, issue number 3 of 7 from DC Comics. This continues to be an absolute joy. This issue we kind of see all these characters on the cover and how they come together. The Crime Syndicate and the Secret Society have taken over the world basically. The Justice League are gone. The only surviving members are what's left of Cyborg, along with Batman and Catwoman. They're the only characters that are really left from the Justice Leagues. So, you know, the world is in a pretty bad way, and we kind of, this issue we get these characters on the cover. Lex Luthor, Captain Cold, the Clone Superman, Black Adam and Black Manta, and we kind of get how these characters come together. One of my worries about the book was that with so many tie-ins now, you should be able to read that main book without reading the tie-ins. The tie-ins should add extra seasoning, extra flavour to the story, extra depth, but you should be able to get it from the main one. And my concern was with so many tie-ins now, would that happen? And I think so far they've done a really good job. Take for example this issue, we have a battle between Ultraman and Black Adam, and it kind of started, they kind of mentioned it last issue, and then over in Justice League you had them actually get down to it and get to the fight and why they were fighting. And then this issue you see the continuation and end of that fight. So, you know, but what I really liked is they had like one line of dialogue that totally explained why they were fighting. And so that really worked, in that, like, you could read this book and you got what was happening and why it was happening between Black Adam and Ultraman. But that if you read Justice League, it added that little bit of depth, that bit of seasoning to the story. So I think so far DC are managing that well. This continues to be really good. I'm really enjoying it. The art by David Finch, I think sometimes you can steroid the characters up a bit too much, but I think he's toned it back a bit here. Because I like my heroes to be larger than life, but just not steroids, you know, larger than life. But he's toned it back here, and I think it really works well, and I think it's some of his best art I've seen for a while, as he does a really great job of this book and giving it an epic feel. I'm really enjoying the story. Yeah, it's a kind of, you can kind of say it's a bit convoluted the way these characters on the cover come together, but I'm really looking forward to see what's going to happen next, and are they kind of going to be like their own, like, kind of Justice League-y kind of deal. That's going to be interesting. What happens with the rogues in this issue as well is really cool and really interesting. We also get answers in this issue to what happened to the Justice Leagues and where they are. So that was really cool as well. I'm just really enjoying the book. DC are just doing top-notch work with this at the moment. And for me, Forever Evil, if you can, Forever Evil and Trinity War as one big event, I think so far this would have to be the best event I've read this year. And I give it Forever Evil issue number 3, 5 stars. So my pick of the week for this week is Green Arrow issue number 25, which is from DC Comics and is a 0-year tie-in. My hat goes off to Jeff Lemire because he just does a fantastic job. Like with the whole Villains Month, he made the Villains Month issue on Count Vertigo kind of tie into the story we've been following. So you didn't kind of lose anything. And it's just the same here. Last issue we introduced a character called Diggle, who's a character from the TV show. I'm not sure if he's ever been in the book before, so I don't kind of want to say definitively yes or no. You know, he may have been in a bit of Arrow that I've never read. So, you know, but I don't believe he's been in the book. But they introduced his character into the last issue of Green Arrow, and this issue we kind of get to go back. We get to see we get 2 stories in here. It's a thicker issue, so you don't mind paying the higher price because you get more bang for your buck. With the first story in here, you get kind of, it's like 6 years ago. Oliver Queen has just returned from the island, and his mom is in Gotham when there's this blackout, and so he puts on the suit as Green Arrow for the first time and goes to Gotham to save his mom, who her bodyguard is Diggle. So, and you have a bit of a run-in with Batman and all of that, so that's kind of cool. And what I really liked about that as well was that we had Ollie with the beard, because he's just come back from the island, and so he's got the beard, and I really liked that. This was like, he really felt like Green Arrow. I know it might sound kind of daft, but even though it wasn't the goatee, it's still I just totally loved him with the beard, and I just wish that he would grow the beard again. Maybe they can do another story where he gets left on the island for a bit and he comes back again with the beard, because I just love the beard and the whole thing for Arrow. I think it just really worked well. The second story is more about Arrow and about Diggle and their relationship and how they become to work together. So you can see, I think, if you're enjoying the TV show of Arrow, this is probably the issue to jump on board with for Green Arrow, because you can feel a lot of parallels between this and the TV show with the way that Green Arrow and Diggle work together. And then you have Roy Harper coming in and all of that, which you imagine sort of takes the situation south. So yeah, I'm really enjoying the book. I think Lemire is just on top form. Andrea Sorrentino with the art, again, is a fantastic. I really enjoyed the book. I think it added a lot of depth to the ongoing story that we're following. And yeah, for me, my pick of the week, thoroughly enjoyed it. If all the 0 year tie-ins are this good, I think this could be another good event from DC, and I give Green Arrow issue number 25 not only my pick of the week, but I also give it 5 stars.